Welcome to another ITS 15 Battle Report. This is the first time my opponent and I played Frostbyte. Here are the mission objectives. To kill more army points than your opponent, 2 objective points. To dominate the exclusion zone, 3 objective points. To have more active hitting units than the opponent, 3 objective points. To score the same amount of active hitting units, 2 objective points. And for the classified objectives, we have 2 each, both worth 1 objective point. So the scenario specific rules, the killer cold. Basically, troopers that are categorized as heavy infantry, remotes or tags are unaffected. Remaining trooper types will die at the completion of the 3rd game round if they are inside the exclusion zone or inside the dead zone or deployment zone without an active hitting unit. There are 4 hitting units, 1 inside each player's deployment zone and 1 inside each dead zone. The game table photograph will make this clear. Each hitting unit must be activated to protect any troopers inside the dead or deployment zones from being killed after round 3. The hitting unit has an automatic defense system to protect itself from close combat attacks. Hitting units can only be damaged by close combat attacks, with troopers using a close combat weapon with the anti-material trait, such as a double action close combat weapon, or by placing decharges in close combat. There are 3 consoles. By spending a short skill, a trooper can turn on a hitting unit. The player can choose which hitting unit to activate. However, it would be prudent to activate the hitting unit for one's own army. Only one console can activate 1 hitting unit at a time. Once a single console has been connected, it cannot be used again. The emphasis is on being the first to activate as many consoles so you can prevent your opponent from activating any of their hitting units. Basically, one console will activate 1 hitting unit only. There is a hazmat operator, and the trooper that's allocated to possesses the 0G terrain special skill and carries decharges. For this mission, the hazmat operator also gains an irregular order to spend on him or herself. This irregular order cannot be used for any other trooper. No quarter means that when an army is reduced to 25 of their army points or less, they do not apply the retreat rules. And baggage just means that the baggage bot earns an extra 20 victory points, calculating the army points when the baggage bot is dominating the exclusion zone. Here is the game table. The dotted orange lines mark the exclusion zone where no troopers can deploy with air deployment, forward deployment or infiltration skill. The boundary is 8 inches from the center line. There are 2 Z zones between the exclusion zone and each deployment zone. The antenna markers represent the hitting units and the console markers are the consoles. This is my army list for this mission. It consists of the 2 standard moderators, a hacker, engineer and specialist operative to achieve objectives, a heavy machine gun for active turn shooting, a missile launcher as an ARO piece, and the digger for lieutenant protection or counter assault piece. I was thinking of making the right girl specialist operative the hazmat ops trooper, just because if she becomes impetuous, that gives her an impetuous order, her regular order, and the irregular order, so 3 orders for her to use during the game, which is quite useful. Or perhaps I can make the digger the hazmat ops trooper for the same principle. This is my opponent's list, a fire team consisting of 3 Teutonic Knights and 1 Crozier paramedic, a mulebot for using the baggage scenario rules when dominating the exclusion zone, and to reload the Teutonic Knights Panzerfausts, 2 Trinitarians and Diverson. Now for the game. I won the lieutenant's role. I chose initiative and to have the first turn. My opponent kept deployment and chose to deploy second. I deployed first. Both moderators deployed on either side of the zone, with my lieutenant in the rear left corner. A mobile brigade HMG in the middle and the digger prone to the right. A riot girl with a missile launcher on the roof of the large building on the right. The mobile brigade hacker was forward on the left, ready to move towards the left console. The right girl specialist operative on the right, ready to move towards the right console. The evader was my reserve trooper. I planned on using him to deal with the Trinitarians, but because none were in the midfield due to the exclusion zone, I used him to try and claim the center console, and also at least to place a mine to slow down any enemy troopers trying to move towards the center console. My opponent's deployment zone. The fire team is on the left, and so too is the mule bot. A camo token on the left in the dead zone, and another camo token on the right with a camo token on top of the wall. Deferson was on the right side in front of the brown building. Round 1. My opponent spends a command token and removes 2 regular orders from my order pool. I'll begin the round with 4 command tokens, 1 lieutenant order, 1 impetuous order, and 6 regular orders. I have 1 irregular order for the hazmat operator, which can only be used on her. The hazmat operator is highlighted with a green ring, and my HVT is a player A token with a red ring, and my opponent is a player B token marked by blue ring. So I'll forgo the impetuous phase. The Marlboro Brigada hacker moves into silhouette contact with the left console and succeeds in connecting it, activating the heating unit in my deployment zone. A coordinated order is performed by the evader and right girl specialist operative, both moving forwards. Next, the evader moves to the wall and places a deployable along his route. The Marlboro Brigada hacker moves into cover to shoot at Deferson. Deferson receives 1 wound but fails his guts to roll into cover. The right girl specialist operative uses the hazmat order and moves into silhouette contact with the right console and goes prone. A coordinated order is performed by the right girl evader and a mobile brigada hacker with the right girl the spearhead. They all move into better positions. The right girl fails to connect the console. Deferson shoots back at the Marlboro Brigada hacker. Fortunately, the hacker passes his saving roll. And that is the end of my turn. Summary of my opponent's turn. The mule bot moves forwards next to the HVT. And the fire team does a lot of moving and shuffling around for this turn, most of it prone. And a lot of dodging and shooting occurs. The result is the right girl specialist operative enters unconscious state. The Marlboro Brigada with HMG moves out of the line of fire of the fire team. The evader takes a wound and enters no wound incapacitation state and out of line of fire. During all of this, my opponent connects a console on my right and activates a heating unit in their dead zone. Deferson moves forward, and that is the end of my opponent's turn. Round 2. I'll start this round with 2 command tokens, 1 lieutenant's order, 1 impetuous order, and 7 regular orders. The digger moves during his impetuous phase. A coordinated order involves the evader, Marlboro Brigada with HMG and digger. They all move their full movement. And the enemy fire team declares dodge. The evader goes prone and moves 2 inches and performs a whip roll against the Crozier paramedic. The evader passes his whip roll and completes a secondary objective, vigilance. The Marlboro Brigada with HMG moves forwards to engage the Teutonic Knight and a Crozier shortly after. And there's obviously some return fire. Oops. The evader climbs over the wall and into silhouette contact with the center console. The Crozier shoots back and Deferson attempts to carbonite the evader. The evader connects the console and activates a heating unit in my dead zone. The evader passes his saving rolls and Deferson fails to hack. The evader moves and shoots the Crozier paramedic. Deferson attempts another carbonite. The evader enters dead state and the Crozier enters unconscious state. And that is the end of my turn. Summary of my opponent's second round. The Teutonic Knight with Spitfire moves to engage the Marlboro Brigada with HMG, forcing him to move back around the wall. One of the Teutonic Knight specialist operatives reloads his Panzerfaust, and then a shootout between the Teutonic Knight and right girl with missile launcher. The Marlboro Brigada with HMG and the digger occurs. The right girl fails to dodge and the rest fail to hit the knight, no wounds are caused. The camo token moves forward and is discovered by the riot girl with missile launcher, revealing to be a Trinitarian. The Trinitarian moves again, only to be shot at by both Mobile Brigaders, the riot girl, and a shock mine. Only the Mobile Brigada hacker puts the Trinitarian into unconscious state, the rest failed to hit. The Mobile Brigada with HMG was engaged by the Trinitarian and passes his saving roll. The camo token moves their full movement. The Teutonic Knight, that is a hazmat operator, uses the hazmat order to move and engage the Mobile Brigada with HMG. The Mobile Brigada passes his dodge roll. The Teutonic Knight passes his saving roll from the chain rifle hit from the digger. That is the end of my opponent's round 2. Round 3. I begin the last round with 1 command token, 1 lieutenant's order, 1 impetuous order, and 6 regular orders. During the impetuous phase, the digger moves forward and is shot by a Teutonic Knight, and in return fires his chain rifle. The digger enters battle ravaged state, and the Teutonic Knight passes his dodge. The digger continues to move forward and engages the Trinitarian Teutonic Knight hazmat operator and the Teutonic Knight with Spitfire. The Trinitarian enters unconscious state. The hazmat Teutonic Knight dodges into engaged state with the digger, and the digger takes a couple of hits from the Spitfire but passes his saving rolls. The digger and Teutonic hazmat operator fight in close combat with the digger winning. The hazmat operator enters dead state. The digger moves away to safety from the fire team, tucked into the corner of the blue building and the board edge. The Mobile Brigada hacker moves to safety behind the Nomads HVT. And the riot girl tries to move into the exclusion zone but stops short, just due to lack of orders. And that is the end of my round 3. Summary of my opponent's round 3. The person moves around the middle building and shoots the Mobile Brigada with HMG. Mobile Brigada loses 1 wound and gutses into cover behind the wall. The fire team consists of only 2 Teutonic Knights and is no longer a fire team. The Teutonic Knight with Spitfire moves and shoots at the Mobile Brigada with HMG. The Mobile Brigada enters unconscious state. The person moves up the stairs and shoots at the riot girl with missile launcher. The riot girl enters dead state. And that is the end of my opponent's round 3. And here is a photograph of the end of the game, the person on top claiming victory, and a massacre on the right where the fire team was. And that is that. The after action review. Here are the results of the game. Kill more army points, military orders was awarded 2 objective points. To dominate the exclusion zone, military orders succeeded and scored 3 objective points. To have more active hitting units than the opponent, Nomads succeeded and were awarded 3 objective points. Secondary objectives, only 1 was completed by Nomads. So the total is 4 objective points for Nomads and 5 for military orders, with military orders for the win. So some lessons learned. I was thinking of removing the digger from my lists, however during this game he showed promise. I was surprised by his skills and ability in close combat. Usually I get slaughtered by the Teutonic Knights, but the digger leveled the close combat field for me. He was a valuable trooper during the last round and reduced the fire team, well worth the 14 points. A problem with dedicated heavy infantry lists is that there are generally fewer troopers. This made it difficult for me to move forward and to try and dominate the exclusion zone. Troopers further back in my deployment zone, such as the riot girl, had to spend more orders trying to move into the midfield, and just one of the many trade-offs for using such a list. As usual, the fire team was the biggest threat to my army, until the digger came along. That is the end of the battle report. Feel free to share your thoughts and observations of the game in the comments below. Just so you guys know, the semester for me starts in a week and I will be unable to produce more battle reports or tactical considerations videos regularly. I will try and make some during the semester when I find available time. Thank you for watching and may you have a good day.